BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game is over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. Please bet responsibly. All right. It's late at night. It's about 11 p.m. Didn't want to go a week without putting an episode out for everybody. Oh man. All right, let's do this. Yo, Sneak This Podcast, episode 372. Obviously, this is a closet episode this week. It didn't make it to the studio. Shout out to my dog George. We'll be back in the studio next week. Appreciate everybody who likes, subscribe, share this podcast. I may be a little bit low as far as tone and energy due to it being so late. It's 11 o'clock right now. My wife is next door asleep in the bedroom, and I'm here in a room full of sneakers. So, but like I said, I appreciate everybody who likes, subscribe, share this podcast. Today I'm going to be doing top 10 Derrick Rose sneakers to me. Obviously, since Derrick Rose is retired, and he's one of my favorite basketball players of all time, just one of the most athletic point guards, anyone has ever seen. And, it sucks that a lot of the youth didn't even get to see that. Um, Derrick Rose was a combination of John Morant and uh, everybody that you love to watch today. You know what I mean? So, um, and it's probably better to say that John Morant is like Derrick Rose versus the other way around. But so I figured I would do a top 10 Derrick Rose list. I had quite a few, not most models of Derrick Rose, but I had like at least 2 colorways, and a few models. So I did make up a top 10 list for that. And if you listen to this podcast for a very long time, I think George and I have done like top 10 best basketball sneakers to hoop in, and I have one of the Derrick Roses, I think, in my top 3, maybe top 5 ever to hoop in. And it's one of the greatest basketball sneakers to hoop in, especially for point guards. So I'm gonna be doing that today. Just right off the top, I meant to say it last episode, and I kind of forgot to do so, but man, I appreciate everybody who had donated when I posted the GoFundMe for a family that my wife and I personally know. Um, it was much needed. Um, I saw the names that came in there. And I wanted to thank you probably all individually, and I probably still will send you guys a message who did so. But man, I never I've made 2 hats for the podcast. You know what I mean? And I was never comfortable with making hats, and I've never made a t-shirt, I've never made a hoodie, I've never sold anything with regards to apparel for the podcast because I just appreciate people who listen to it. I wouldn't expect you to walk around wearing a sneaker podcast t-shirt. You know what I mean? I know people sell merch and stuff like that, and it's fine. It's nothing against them. It's just I've never been comfortable with doing that. And with this family in need, who suffered a devastating loss, that and if you're a father, you're a parent, and you listen to this podcast, I mean, unimaginable loss. And I knew I wanted to do something for her. My wife and I have already done our part, with regards to helping out and donations and things like that. But I wanted to make sure that I go above and beyond, and having a platform like this and building the following that we have, I wanted to take advantage of it. I had other ideas in mind, but I didn't want to end up putting myself in a situation that I wouldn't be able to commit, um, to sticking to what I had originally thought. But I just went ahead and made that post, and I made it clear. You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to do like a guilt trip or anything like that. But honestly, I was trying to do a guilt trip. I wanted to make sure that I've never asked anybody for $1 for this podcast. I've never asked anybody for pay for our Patreon or subscribe to our thing or pay to listen. Never, and I never will. This is 372 episodes. I've never asked anybody for $1. and I felt that that was the opportunity to make sure that that money went to something good. So instead of selling merch, if you've ever wanted to support this podcast in that way, that was the best way that I thought the money would be useful for. And we have plenty of money. George and I have plenty of money to pay for the podcast and take care of the podcast. I've been doing it for 8 years now, so that's not, you know, uh, um, that's never been an issue or anything like that. I know we joke about the podcast and we joke about ending it and things like. Well, I don't know if I want to say it's a joke because it will eventually happen. Um, but I just really appreciate those who donated and used their platform to spread the word about it and share about it. Um, I can't thank you enough. They really needed that money. And if you listen to me on this podcast before, you know that I just don't willy nilly stuff, and I stand 10 toes down. When it comes to certain things, and that was something that was much needed. And um, you guys just know me. Some of you know me personally, and some of you know me just talking through DMs or text, or just you just know my voice and listen to the podcast. That's how you know me. Um, and for you guys to reach into your own pockets to help out a family, you know, based on our relationship that I have with you, either as just podcaster to listener, or as friend, someone personally, or just a homie on the internet. I truly, truly appreciate it. So I wanted to make sure that I did say that. So um, pickups. All right. Oh shoot, I gotta do releases and stuff too. Man, I tell you, I know I always say this every single time I do an episode in the pod. I know I say this every single time I do an episode in the closet, but doing releases is much harder than you would think it is. I always give George a hard time about releases when we do it in the studio, but when I have to do it here, I'm like, I feel like this immense pressure of like, oh God, I got to be ready to do so. But I do have some pickups. Actually, I have a lot of pickups. But I'll probably wait till next week in the studio to talk about those ones. But I will unbox two pickups here that I got. Um, so I did mention how, whoops, I did mention this is too much for me. Like it really is. Like I everybody's been sending me stuff about Bucky's because I talked about the anxiety I had of walking in Bucky's. It, this gives me so much anxiety, these sneakers. And I know it's going to sound ridiculous because I buy. And even my wife is going to listen to this and be like, yeah, okay, Greg. But it just makes me so uncomfortable sometimes to have so many sneakers and to just always be consumed by sneakers. Anyways, you don't need to hear that right now. But I did get my Bad Bunny. I got both pairs. One of the pairs are going to the homie Josh. If he still wants it, he asked me for it, so shout out to him. It is the white pair. It's the white and black and gum bottom ones. I already had the blue pair. I unboxed the blue pair on here. I think the last time I did a closet episode. So a beautiful box. Whatever Adidas or whatever Bad Bunny's contract, or Adidas goes all out for Bad Bunny. When it comes to the quality of sneaker, the colorways, the materials, just the box, the additional packaging and stuff like that, they go all out, and it makes me go like, man, I know you can do this elsewhere. So let me go ahead and open this up real quick. And look, I've said this numerous times doing episodes in the closet. If you come in here to look for a professional sneaker review, you came to the wrong spot. I got nothing for you. I'm doing the best I can with the little bit of time I have and in this little bit of space I got. So obviously comes with the bag. I actually use this bag. I never use the bags or anything that boxes come with. I'm talking when I say rarely switch out the laces if it comes with multiple laces. It's so rare that I can't even think of a time I've ever done it. That's how rare it is of like getting multiple laces in a box and switching the ones out that it didn't already come with. I use these bags. You know what I use these bags for? I put the sneakers in it and then I pack them in my suitcase because I don't like my sneakers touching my clothes. I had bought these bags off Amazon for packing and they work just fine. But I was like, I have so many sneakers that have come with some type of bag or some type of something. I was like, I'm gonna start using those. So I started using these for that. Good for it. Sturdy, quality. Um, so I'll just go ahead and take out one of them. Um, these were a must cop for me. I don't know if there's any plans for Adidas to release any more of these Bad Bunny Gazelles, and it's the Bad Bunny Gazelle Indoor for those who are listening in your vehicles or listening on your cell phone or whatever you're doing right now and not watching the YouTube video. Um, when I got the blue pair, it, the blue pair, blue or white, I don't care. This is sneaker of the year. There, I don't. There's nothing else. And if I'm gonna pick a colorway for sneaker of the year, it's gonna be the blue pair. But there is no other sneaker that is better than this for the year 2024. I don't care what's November's coming out, what's December's coming out. I don't care. As of right now, in the month of October, the third day of October, there is nothing better than the Bad Bunny Indoor Gazelle of 2024. Period. Um, you know, same concept. Suede in the front, got the gum bottom, perfect leather. It has the double tongue, which is one of my favorite features. I unsnap the tongue. That's what I like to do. I unsnap it and then I pull it up. So when I wear my blue pair, I haven't worn these yet. When I wear my blue pair, I unsnap it, and this one I leave it connected to the laces and I pull it up. So I kind of got both tongues and whatnot, and it lays just right with your pants. It also has the additional insoles, so they come with the thin insole first, but inside the box it has the thick insoles. I mean, it's the perfect shoe. Um, it does come across a little bit wide when you have it on foot and you look down, but I like the size in the back of it. I think that's a little nice little touch. Um, it's just perfect. I have nothing negative to say about this. I already know I'm gonna wear this immediately. I've worn my blue pair so much that like it's almost beat. You know what I mean? And I feel bad that it's beat because the blue pair does go for a little bit more money, actually a lot more money than the white. And I really don't want to have to buy another blue pair. But at the exact same time, if I could get myself mentally clear that spending the money on another blue pair would be better for me than buying, a black cement 3 or something like that, then I'd be good. You know what I mean? Here's the second pair of insoles that I talked about that it comes with. So it comes with a thick insole. It got the Bad Bunny. It says Para Bad Bunny on it. Take out the other one, put this one in there. Comfort to the max. Like I said, when it comes to the Bad Bunny collection, and these two Bad Bunnies that I have, the blue pair and this black and white pair, white and black pair, they're the only two Bad Bunnies I've ever had. So I don't know what comes additional in the other boxes of the other models he had. I don't know if it's of the same par. I don't know if they come with insoles. But with this particular model and this particular pack, if you want to call it that, they went all out. I mean, even the outline right here, it's almost like a denim. Like it's like a, like a canvas or something that's around it. Like this is a really good sneaker. Um, I can't say enough about it. They go all out. So whatever they got going on over at Adidas, it is top tier. Um, I sort of wish that Adidas would take the same formula that they put for Bad Bunny and apply it to other areas, or just really refocus themselves and take a look at their catalog and readjust it, for today times. You know what I mean? So I don't know. These are really cool. I don't listen to any Bad Bunny music unless my wife is playing it in the car. My daughter likes to listen to it in the car with my wife and stuff like that. And my son listens to it every once in a while with them when he's in the car and whatnot. And, you know, I know who Bad Bunny is if I seen him. I don't think I've ever seen him like wearing any of these or nothing like that. But, if he has a hand in any of the design or if he gets to say on anything, he's doing a great job at it. So, shout out to Adidas for those. Shout out to and I got two pairs. And like I said, that second pair is gonna go. And I got my wife a pair too. I don't know if she's gonna listen to this, or I don't know if she heard me say that I ordered a pair. She doesn't know it. I pre-ordered it because there were some places doing pre-orders for these. Um, I haven't gotten any. I got confirmation that my order went through, but I haven't gotten anything about it being shipped or anything yet. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll come. Maybe it won't. So, um, oh, so I also got the Travis Scott olive. I think it's called medium olive, maybe. Yep, medium olive. Shout out to Manor. Manor is, for those who listen to the podcast, we've talked about Manor for numerous years on this podcast. And, anybody that comes in town, that's one of the first spots we tell them to hit up. Hit up Manor. Manor. Manor is, a local boutique that started the exact same year we started this podcast, I believe. So, we sort of feel like we have some sort of connection and ties with them. And, it was funny because I was at my son's soccer game and I sent one of the threads a message, with George in it, and I was like, "Dang, Manor is getting Travis Scott's as well." And typically, Manor does. They used to do online raffles every once in a while, but then they started doing the in-store raffles. And Manor is not that close to me. Manor from my house is probably about 50 minutes, maybe. So, um, I was like, if it's a in-store raffle, I'm all the way out here in Mesa. I'm not gonna go anyways for it. But it was an online raffle. I went ahead and filled it out, and lo and behold, I won. Now, hey, I don't know. Maybe they hooked me up. I don't know, but I will tell you this. This is my second, no, sorry, my third pair of Travis Scotts ever, but this is my first pair of Jordan 1 Travis Scotts. And I appreciated being from a local spot. And when I say local spot, I mean a from the ground up Arizona local boutique. If you want to call it a mom and pop, you can. Um, I don't mean like I got it from my local Foot Locker. No, no, no. I got it from a Arizona built from the ground up sneaker boutique streetwear shop manner in Arizona, and I am very very appreciated. And like I said, man, I don't gotta say like I said. Every time people come in town, go to Manor. So, gonna go ahead and open this. I did look at it one time already, when I picked it up. If you listen to this podcast as much as I think you do, or if you're a first time listener or a person who just recently jumped into the podcast, when I buy sneakers, they sit in the car, they sit at the front door, they sit in the original packing, the boxes for weeks, sometimes months before I even look at them. There have been times where I've ordered stuff from places and it's sat in boxes for months. And then when I finally decide to open it, it's not even the right shoe and I'm stuck with it. So I'm trying to get better at that to make sure I at least got what I ordered. But obviously, this one I was like, okay, well, I picked it up from Manor locally. Shout out to them, and I wanted to take a look at it. So, um, pink paper, nice little touch. The other Travis Scotts that I have is the Travis Scott Olive Six, the first colorway in the six, and then I had the Travis Scott 270, which is whack. It kind of grew on me a little bit, but yeah. So go ahead and take that out of the box. You know what's funny is I thought it was weird because when I got the box from Manor, I thought this looks like Devin Booker's box. I would take out a pair of Devin Booker's to like show the comparison, but it's almost the exact same as a Devin Booker box a little bit. Obviously, it's a Jordan 1 box, but it's like the same colorway. Maybe my eyesight's a little bit off, but when I first looked at it, I thought it was a Devin Booker box. Obviously, we have some additional laces. I had seen a couple people on social media with pink laces in these, and I thought that they just put pink laces in them. I didn't know it came with pink laces, but it does come with a set of pink laces in a little Jordan box right here. So let me see if I can show it. Pink laces right there. And for those listening, if you didn't catch it already, these are the medium olive Travis Scott Jordan 1 lows. It comes with the white laces in them. They're like some type of textured lace, like maybe like a wax lace. I'm not sure if I'm a super fan of the wax lace. Um, Nice suede, good leather. Got the vintage looking colored outsole. Obviously, the backward swoosh is like a tumbled leather. You got the Cactus Jack on the tongue. You got the red Nike Air. Jordan Man on the insole. Your olive green sole, and that is a Jordan 1 low. Um, it's my first Travis 1 low. I'm excited to have one. All the sneakers I've bought, all the sneakers I've had, all the sneakers that have come through my house or come through, the podcast and whatnot. I've never owned a Travis 1 low, a Travis 1 Jordan. So, um, I'm very pleased with this. Like, I'm very excited to have this. I'm glad I finally got one in the collection, one that I could wear. George and I wear Jordan lows weekly. That's sort of our go-to shoe, especially when you get a little bit older in age. Wearing a Jordan 1 high just isn't your real go-to. You know what I mean? If I'm about to hit the streets, potentially I may throw on a high in the wintertime with a fresh pair of denim or something like that. But, right now in Arizona, I mean, today was 111, 114, and it's October 3rd. So the sun shines here and it shines bright and it burns bright out here all the time. So a low top with some shorts with the socks that are just right. You gotta have your socks just right on your Jordan 1 lows. I know I used to have conversations on this podcast about socks, but your socks gotta be just right. One day I'm gonna really do a deep dive in the sock length and on the correct sneakers. I'm gonna go through various amount of sneakers and discuss where your socks should be. All right. But I like these a lot. Um, and these will get worn immediately, probably pretty soon. I will say that like I don't really know in what direction I may try to wear these or how. I got plenty of pairs of olive pants that like I feel like when you see something like this, you think, let me wear my olive pants, but I don't know. You could put on too much olive and kind of throw it off, but the white can break it up a little bit. So I don't know. But shout out to Manor, man. Shout out to Manor for you know, providing a way for me to get my first pair of Jordan Travis ones. So I appreciate that. All right, so let's do releases. Appreciate everybody who likes, subscribe, share this podcast. Appreciate all the DMs and comments. There's a few things that I'm going to be talking about today. Some things you may like, some things you may not like, but it's just to get this podcast, get you through your day, your commute, through public transportation, your work, as blue collar or white collar. You sitting in that cubicle board, you sitting, at the house chilling and whatnot. That's what the podcast is for. So let me go ahead and get into releases. I know it's Thursday still. I know East Coast is already in their Friday morning, but it's Thursday here. So these will probably be releases that will go all the way through Tuesday and what's expected to probably drop this weekend. Um, so, um, we got a Nike Dunk Low SB Light Carbon Monarch. This is the one that I kind of talked about last week on the podcast with George. I don't think I made a graphic for it or showed it, but I said that this might be sneaker of the SB of the year or Nike of the year. Something about the colorways and the material of this one it is stupid fire. This is worth a cop. Um, it looks like it came out. Oh, it looks like it came out today. So it may have dropped on sneakers today, or maybe coming out this weekend. This may be the overseas. When you look on GOAT, some of the release dates, I feel like when we do releases, we'll be like, man, didn't we just say this last week? Some of these dates be for European drop. So these may not be out. They may not. I don't know. They may be out, may not be out. I don't know. But this light carbon monarch pair is, to me, if you're still copping SBs and dunks, this is a must cop. This joint is fire to me. We also got a Nike Air Terra Humara Sesame. Look, I feel like Humara's had a pretty decent year, obviously with all the undefeated colorways that dropped. I believe they dropped 4 colorways this year, and just Nike on sneakers app, I think around 2 or 3 dropped this year. I think I bought 4 this year. Um, this is a cool colorway. It's very muted. Um, you know, the name Sesame is perfect for it because it looks like a sesame seed that you see on a hamburger. Um, we got Fear of God Athletics Los Angeles Hikers. Fam, I don't think I've ever seen a bigger fall off than Fear of God. I I, I just I just don't understand what happened. When I think about Fear of God and I think about his collaboration with Adidas, you know, I feel like Fear of God has its own aesthetic. Okay. When you come over to a world renowned, you know, popular brand like Adidas, and what I mean by popular is that like it's for everybody. Fear of God is not for everybody. Fear of God is legit for the elite and the irresponsible middle class. That's what it's for. Okay. When you bring over something that is in its own category, basically a fashion house and of high fashion, and you bring it over to a brand that is for the general public and people, you got to find a middle ground. Having an $800 parka on the Adidas website to me is wild disrespectful. It's disrespectful to your just general everyday consumer. If I'm a person who isn't into sneakers that much or know that much about Adidas or apps and things like that, and I just happen to come across this $800 Fear of God parka on your Adidas app, I would automatically trigger me to feel like this app isn't for me. There's nothing in here for me. It would stop my search and exploration of your app by knowing that's in here. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Jerry Lorenzo has a very specific aesthetic. It's casual, lazy, chill, cozy vibes. Bringing that over to Adidas just didn't work, and it isn't working whatsoever. I may have went way too deep into that this early in the podcast, but you get what I'm saying. Um, we have looks like a Under Armour Flow Breakthrough 5. Looks like a Kelsey Plum PE. Not a bad looking shoe. It looks like, oh, I guess this model is a women's shoe. I think this is only a women's shoe, this Breakthrough 5. I've seen it before, and I think every single one I've seen before was considered women. Actually, this may be Kelsey Plum's signature sneaker. I don't know. I think it is. Oh, you know what? I'm clicking on other versions, and all of them say Kelsey Plum, except a few. So this may be her signature sneaker. I think this is a okay looking sneaker. Like, I think it's a good looking basketball sneaker. Is it something that I'm gonna walk around casually, hanging out with the family? No, but I think it's a good looking sneaker. We also got the Nike Air Force 3 Nego Low. Um, you know, some of the topics today I'm gonna talk about, like, I'm gonna make reference to some of the comments of, you know, some of the topics today that, like, your general sneakerhead and people make reference to. Um, an Air Force 3, you gotta really be into sneakers to, like, have some type of history with the Air Force 2 and the Air Force 3. I appreciate how they didn't just stop with the Air Force One. They made the Air Force One, they tried a two, they tried a three. Obviously, the Air Force One is the one that stuck. We talk about it all the time. There's a lot of sneakers that they didn't go try a second variation of it. They didn't try to make like a, you know, air a foam posit two. You know what I mean? They have a pro and the foam posit one. One has a swoosh, one doesn't. They didn't really jump out the window with that. But they tried a flight posit, they tried stuff, but they didn't like make a foam posit two. You know what I mean? They knew what they had, and they knew that it'd be very risky to try to capture what they created in the first one in the second version. Same thing with the Air Force 2 and the Air Force 3. I appreciate Nego because I'm gonna assume, and Nego is a figure in his own. He's a cultural icon, in streetwear and music and things like that. So I would assume that the Air Force 3 must be a personal thing to him. I'm sure it's, something that he remembers growing up or one of his first sneakers or whatnot, because there's really no reason to choose an Air Force 3. I think Air Force 1s are bulky. Put on an Air Force 3. Air Force 3 is like wearing jump soles. If you don't know what jump soles are like, are these things that you used to buy at an East Bay magazine, and you would connect them to the bottom of your shoe, and you would walk around all day with them to develop your calf muscles, and it made you think it would help you jump higher. They didn't help you jump higher. They just made your calves hurt. These right here, I appreciate the colors. I appreciate the collaboration with Nego. I appreciate about all the apparel that's coming out with this, but this right here is an absolute no-go. All right, to me. Don't think it looks bad. If let me put it this way: if you're about 6 foot, about 195 and up, perfect for you. Buy doubles. We got the New Balance 1906R Rose Runner Jack Harlow. Suck. Um, I know nothing about Jack Harlow. Got some bangers though. You know, there's a lot of Jack Harlow music that like I listened to and thought, yo, this is a banger. Had no idea it was Jack Harlow. Um, so I'm not gonna sit here and say like his music is bad. I have no idea. Every single Jack Harlow song I've ever heard, fire. Period. I don't understand this Rose Runner. I haven't read up on the background. I haven't looked into it. Maybe there's a story behind it. I'm sure there's a story behind it somewhere. It's just something that I haven't looked into. An olive green and rose pattern New Balance. Somebody gonna have to fill in the gaps for me on that. We got the Nike Air Foamposite One Tekken 8. No, thank you. Um, I mean, it just looks like they painted some fake cement cracks on the side of an all white Air Force on a white Air Force One. Oh, nose itching. Um, no. Look, I've never played Tekken once in my entire life. It's never looked appealing to me. I may have played one time ever at somebody's house, but I know nothing about Tekken. I don't know the name of a character. I feel like there's a man that's like half human, half tiger head. I don't know. I don't care. But I do know it's a video game. It's a fighting video game, and it's very vibrant, colorful, and people love it. This is Tekken 8. People love it. And you decide to do a look like cracked cement Air Force One? All right, man. We also got a potential other brand sneaker of the year. Um, and that's the Reebok Premier Road Modern. It's a Packer collaboration. This joint is fire. I seen pictures of it on Twitter first, and then I saw them on Instagram, and I was like, okay, if Reebok can get themselves together and create things like this, and look at it and go, okay, we're on the right path. How do we build off this? Then Reebok could easily potentially find a home in a lot of our closets. I'm pretty confident. Me and George went stupid on Reebok CL Legacies during COVID. I think I bought about 5, and George probably bought about 4. I made about 6 or 8. I don't even remember. Haven't worn any. I wore one of them to go hiking in. I haven't worn any of the other ones. George beat the Pleasure collaboration pair that he had, which was stupid fire. A lot of these brands, Adidas, Reebok, I'll even say Nike, they strike, they find this like this lightning, like they like a banger. They go like, ooh, okay, and then somehow they just revert back to what they know. This Reebok Premier Road Modern is in a right direction. Now, if Reebok goes, yo, we've brought back interest to our brand by using this model, let's release a Sean Kemp. You're over. You're cooked. That's what happens. It's like they hit you with something that like brings you in, and then they go, let's retro uh the Gary Paytons. Huh? Let's retro Fire Red Fives. No, continue down this path. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later. Oh my gosh, my nose is itching. All right, so what else come out this week? Looks like we got a Lamelo Ball 3 Puma MB3 Halloween. Um, look, this looks like the MB2 and the MB1, which may be the best formula that you can ask for. MB1 fire, MB2 fire, MB3 looks pretty much the same, so you can't say it's not fire. I guess that's the best formula to keep people interested in your sneakers. It could backfire. People could go, yo, I'm not going to buy the 3 because it looks like the 2. I'm not going to buy the 2 because it looks like the 1. Like, people can go that route. We've also seen people have a fire 1 and then a completely different 2 and then a whack 3, and it just goes downhill from there. Maybe LaMelo's formula is let's stick to the same shape, same silhouette, and just add a little flair to it each year. So can't be mad at him. Um, what else we got here? Oh Lord. Looks like a Jordan 1 Satin Shadow. Fam. Um, looks like we got a what else we got here? I'm not talking about Anthony Edwards anymore. I'm over the Anthony Edwards. Like enough. Okay? Enough. Anthony Edwards 2 needs to be on the way soon. Enough with the Anthony Edwards 1, all right? A lot of the colorways that are coming out of the Anthony Edwards 1, even though they're different, they all look pretty similar. Like they have hints. The first colorway, I don't know what the first colorway was called. That's the one that I bought. Like peaches color. It looks like a little peach, whatever that color. I don't need a pink version. I don't need anyways. I'm not talking about Anthony Edwards anymore. Anthony Edwards sneakers anymore. Um, looks like a Nike Vomero 5. It's a GS. It's called Spider. This is a Halloween one. I seen this on Instagram or something like that. I saw it. It's a Halloween Vomero. Has like spider eyes on it, like a little bit of fur. It's a GS pair, which it should be. Anything that's got a heavy, straightforward theme. And what I mean by straightforward is like if that joint got skeletons all over it or spiders or pumpkins, it should be for kids. Adults don't need to be walking around. Now, if you happen to have some Halloween sneakers back when Halloween sneaker theme, Nikes, etc. was cracking, cool. Ain't nobody tripping. Just like Christmas ones. If you got some Christmas joints that you just got in your collection from the past, some LeBron, some SBs, some whatnot, cool. Ain't nobody tripping. But should no grown man be like, I need the Halloween joints with the pumpkin on it? You don't need that, buddy. Get them for your kids. It's okay. It's okay. Looks like the John Morant 2 is dropping this week. I don't know if this is the first colorway. I don't know if this is the first colorway drop, but it drops this week. It sucks. I'm just not even gonna sugarcoat it for you. It sucks. George likes it. George likes it because it's plain. It looks like a Kobe. It looks like a Sabrina Ionescu. It looks just like those. That doesn't make me go, this is fire. That right there is cheating. That's the easy way out. That's like it tries to put the buyer in a weird spot. Like for me, I can say this sucks because I don't care. It sucks. All right. I don't care if it resembles those. The Sabrina 1 and 2, stupid fire. All right. Kobe's, you know, fire or not fire. Take them however you want to take them. This right here sucks. The Ja 1 sucks. The Ja 1 is better than this. That's how bad this one sucks. To me. Go ahead and do your thing. Buy if you want them. I ain't tripping. But these suck. Um, but I don't like when the brand puts you in this position of like, yo, if it's almost like they're saying like, if you like this, you have to like this, and it's like, no, man, that no. And then it looks like that Air Max 1 low poly. They're doing a pre-order for it. I don't know if it's already happened. I, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about Nike a little bit. I'm gonna talk about a question I seen proposed on ATAF on Instagram. Shout out to them, man. They've been posting some pretty good questions and stuff like that lately. That I've been like, Um, if you saw the link when it came out to this Air Max 1 low poly, and like I think that's Kaisa Knight, Kaisa Knight, Sanat, whatever, um, who is the promoter of this or whatever. First of all, the sneaker sucks. Like it's not enough poly, and it's like polygons. Like I think it's polygons. Is that how you say it? Maybe I don't know, but it's like that. The shapes, the edges, sort of like 3D, not 3D, but like video game classic graphics, like the curves, the edges, whatever it is. Okay, like, I don't care. It doesn't look enough poly for me to go, these are a cop. From a distance and even up close, it's just a red OG Air Max 1 to me. I don't get it. But the rollout for this came with like a link to some type of website where it takes you in this like virtual world and you gotta like use your cell phone to control and walk around. One of the dumbest things ever. And I'm just like, what's up, Nike? I'm gonna talk about it, man. I think that's it for this week. So I think that's where I'll stop right there. So, um, you know, got kind of a lot to talk about a little bit. I don't want to be here for too long. Obviously, you know, it's close to midnight now, um, and I gotta go to work at about 4 a.m. So, you're welcome. But I do want to talk about a couple things, man. Like, and I never want these episodes when I'm in the closet to come off a certain way. But I do feel like these are the episodes that I do get to explain some of my thoughts and processes of how I process certain information when it comes in, or things or observations that I see in sneaker community or with brands or with you guys, or how you're acting online and stuff like that. And I never want to be too much, oh man, this is insane. But man, sometimes I just don't understand. So um, I'm calling this a rumor because I haven't seen anything official yet. Um, so we'll just say this is like a rumor report, that Maniere is supposed to be joining Adidas at some point. I saw, I don't know, multiple people on Twitter talking about it. Um, Look, let's just talk about that first, and let's talk about Adidas for a second, real quick. I love Adidas. I buy Adidas clothes because they're better than Nike clothes. I have over 35, maybe 40 pairs of Adidas. I love Adidas, and I'm also very hard on Adidas. I think I'm very hard on Adidas because I do like them so much and I see the potential in there. And when I look at Adidas, I look at those are perfect for where I am in my life. A Gazelle, a Speisel, whatever, a Samba. Those are perfect for my life right now. But Adidas is like the Lakers. That's what they make me think of, right? Maybe I'm not saying this right. Like it's like they just keep doing things to think that this is the one that's gonna stick. This is the one that's gonna matter. Actually, I wrote down Adidas. It's a mix of current and past of their like celebrity, uh influencer, whatever you want to call it, roster that currently have, um or had in the past. It's late, and I'm sorry if I'm like my tone or cadence is off. It's late. Adidas has had Kanye, Beyonce, Pharrell, Fear of God, Jerry Lorenzo, Kendall Jenner, Bad Bunny, Pusha T, Sean Witherspoon, Big Sean, Two Chains, Jen Ortega, and probably some more that I'm missing there. More than half of that have been fail. That right there is probably the greatest list of collaborators or endorsers of all time. Kanye, Beyonce, Pharrell are killer right off the bat. Bad Bunny, Big Sean at his height, Sean Witherspoon at his height, Fear of God, Kendall Jenner. Like, come on. Bringing in Ama Maniere at this point, it's just throwing stuff against the wall and trying to make it stick. If you've been listening to this podcast, or if you've gone back and listened to older episodes, this podcast started around the time when Ultra Boost was still at a high. We've done numerous Ultra Boost lists: best Ultra Boost, best NMD, best sneaker with boost, top 10. We've done all of those. And in every single one, there are some Ama Maniere Adidas that is in that category. Ama Maniere Ultra Boost or Ama Maniere NMD are arguably the greatest the greatest in those categories. You can make the argument for those. The Ama Maniere NMD is probably the greatest OG NMD of all time. OG shape NMD of all time. That's facts. Like, period. The Ultra Boost might be top 3, top 5 greatest Ultra Boost of all time, 1.0. That's facts. You don't have to go double check. You don't have to debate it. It's facts, all right? Now, there's been thousands of colorways that have come out since then that you'll go like, well, that's all white or all black. This is better. I get it. But I'm talking about like it's one of the elite in those categories. A lot of people didn't care about them then, and a lot of people aren't going to care about them now. Alma Maniere might be the biggest decline and the fastest decline I've ever seen of interest amongst the sneaker community ever. The best campaign to sell Alma Maniere right now is that it's easy to cop. That may not make any sense, but like people know that it's sitting already, but when people start posting it sitting, yo, easy cop, that's when it makes people jump out the window and have this sort of fear of missing out, and they go and cop, or they look at it as like, this is my opportunity to own an Alma Maniere, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Adidas bringing on Alma Maniere is like Lakers signing Russell Westbrook. I think this is what we need. This is the missing piece. Like the Clippers signing Westbrook or Harden. It's like, buddy, it's on the decline. Like, nah, this is what we need. If you can't make it work, if you couldn't make it work with Beyonce and you couldn't wrangle in Kanye, this isn't gonna do nothing. If you can't make it work with Fear of God, man, I'm a man, he gonna have to whatever Bad Bunny's plan and directive and whatever they have for Bad Bunny, you have to give it to Alma Maniere. Period. You have to. Just bringing over Alma Maniere color palette and throwing it on some Sambas or some Shell Toes or throwing it on a Adidas Infinity 3 or something weird ain't gonna fly. It's not gonna fly. You're gonna be stuck with one more collaborator and wondering why ain't nobody copying this stuff. Now, this is another thing about this potential news breaking out or rumor. I saw multiple people talking about it, right? Nothing confirmed, just multiple people talking about it. You know, I learned something looking at Twitter that day and when information and stuff like that comes out. If you've listened to this podcast since day one, I've always talked about the different types of sneakerheads. I've talked about your Republican sneakerhead, right? You know, your Republican sneakerhead is that one that, you know, they always win. They win all the raffles, they cop all the time, but they always got advice for you on how you can do better to win. It's like they're always like the pick you up by your bootstrap mentality. You know what I'm talking about. You may not have any of these type of sneakerheads today because sneakers are so easy to cop that you may not be able to relate to these some of these sneakerheads that I'm describing right now. But like I said, that Republican sneakerhead is the one that's like pick yourself up by the bootstraps. They're the one, telling you like, yo, you gotta put in the work. You gotta put in the groundwork. You gotta go in stores and chop it up. That's how I win. I chop it up with them. You gotta put your face out there, man. You gotta go out there and be cool with everybody. That's how you get wins. They're those type. Then you had like I don't remember what I used to call it in the past, but it's like a hindsight sneakerhead. You know, Eh, like I said, these don't exist anymore because it's so easy to cop now. But like the hindsight sneakerhead was that guy that like took L's on everything, lost everything, but he had to let you know that like you know what, I ain't even tripping. The most important thing to me is my kids and family. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Yo, all I really need in my life is my wife and my kids, man. I ain't tripping off these sneakers. Congrats to everybody who won, but I ain't tripping. Thanks, pal. All right. Just because you take L's all the time, thank you. I think that might have been the most annoying sneakerhead. This was probably more popular back in the Facebook days. It may have been on Twitter as well. But I remember cats specifically would do everything in their power. They would take a L in every raffle, L on the campouts, L, 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 L. Then they get on Facebook like, you know what? Congrats to everybody who won. But you know what? When it really boils down to it, all I really need is my kids and wife and my family, man. These sneakers don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? The next sneaker comes out next week, man. It's on to the next one. You know what I mean? But congrats to everybody else who won. Man, shut up. All right, you loser. All right. But you know what I noticed? When everybody started talking about this potential Maniere Adidas relationship brewing, you know what the new sneakerhead is? It's the breaking news sneakerhead. It's that sneakerhead that just I'm not sure if they actually care about the product whatsoever, but they care about making sure that they're the first person to let everybody know that something has happened, going to happen, or is brewing. They might be the most annoying sneakerheads of all time, and I'm not even joking. I just it, it's that sneakerhead that like they 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 find value in the culture by feeling like they're the go-to. Yes, I'm including sneaker fetish man. I'm including some other people on social media too that I don't see that often, but I see them all the time. It's like their value is in knowing what you may not know. Breaking news that Maniere is joining Adidas. No one cares. Who cares? There's no value in it anymore. People don't understand. People refuse to understand that there's no value in that type of news anymore. There isn't. Let me tell you why. One, because sneakers are so easy to buy now. Fam, I saw Mocha Lows that came out 2 weeks ago. Mocha Lows, 30% off and free shipping already. Mocha Jordan 1 Lows. Breaking news that Maniere and Adidas are potentially getting together doesn't matter. One, because it's easy to buy sneakers now. That's one. Two, is because nobody cares about Maniere like you think they do. They care about the thought of them potentially doing something good, but nobody actually cares. And then another reason that news like that doesn't matter is because everybody keeps failing on execution. Everyone. Even when you see a sample, even though you get a glimpse, you get an understanding, you hear the news, this is going to happen. Everybody keeps failing on execution. I don't even mean like something like, oh, the materials aren't good or whatever. They just suck. That's the problem. You can throw any big brand with any collaborator, designer, and everybody, but the execution of the product continues to suck. A lot of this stuff we're buying out of like, oh, well, I mean, since no one, I guess I'll cop. Some of this we're buying out of pity. A lot of it we're buying out of just sheer addiction. But this new sneakerhead, the breaking news sneakerhead, y'all need to get a life. You seriously need to get a life. Your life can't be this. You know what I'm also sick and tired of? Is the person, and it's becoming very popular in the sneaker community. This used to be a, thought thoughts used to talk this way on social media. But it's leaked over into all areas. I'm sick and tired of people talking so much on social media about what they can't tell us. Does that make sense? Too many people are on social media telling us telling us about something they can't tell us. Literally, people are posting, yo, just heard some crazy news. Wish I could tell you, but it's gonna change the game. I can't tell you now, but man, if I could, I would. Shut up. Yo, if I could tell you guys what I just heard, yo, it's gonna change the sneaker game forever. You came on here to tell us you know something you can't tell us? Shut up. Hey, shut up. Yo, if you guys knew what's coming down the pipeline, yo, I talked to a couple people and they put me on to some stuff that's gonna blow your minds. I can't tell you guys, but let me tell you, when you find out, it's gonna be crazy. Be prepared. Shut up. Just corn on the cob. It's just corny. Corn on the cob, cornbread, cornucopia. Lord. Cream of corn syrup. Man. Corny. Corner. Corns on your toes. Man. Like, you gotta be a special type of person to write a paragraph about something you can't tell us. Weirdoism. And that's what a lot of you guys worship. That's what you guys study. It's not Christianity. It's not Buddhism. It's not Baptist. It's none of that. You guys, it's not Scientology. You guys, some of you are weirdos or weirdoisms. All right. You go to the church of weirdoism. All right. Yo, fam. If you guys knew what I knew, you'd be saving your money right now. But I can't tell you. Shh, emoji. What else we gonna talk about? Oh, Frank Cooke. This sort of ties into the other discussion. Like I said, I saw that question posted on ATF. Um, and I'll talk about it in a bit. Frank Cooke, looks like he's coming back to Nike slash Jordan Brand or just Nike. I don't know. Look, I don't got to go down Frank Cooke's resume. His resume is thorough. Um, if you've been at sneakers for a really, really long time, you know who Frank Cooke is. Um, you know, I think a lot of people. This kind of goes back to the breaking news sneakerhead. I think a lot of people are just in love with the idea of something versus the actual end result. Like, I see numerous people who I know nothing about Frank Cooke or um ain't been in the game long enough to know anything about him. Yo, Nike about to get back on track. Yo, finally, they going back to their roots. Yo, now this is what I'm talking about. Bringing back in the real sneaker. Stop. Look, I hope he could come in there and do something fun, but it's not going to be for me. Frank Cooke can't come in there thinking about me. One of the quotes I seen, reading a few articles, is him saying basically he wants to restore the feeling, like that feeling of in sneakers. That's the problem with. That's the problem. Brands, they're trying too hard to restore old feelings. Nobody is working on creating new feelings. Any efforts they try to create new feelings, their execution is horrible. When they knock it out the park and they begin to make us feel something, they ruin it every single time. Whether it's the price point of the sneaker, whether it's too many colorways of the sneaker, whether it's, a significant drop off in the next design of a sneaker, it's always something. I don't know Frank Cook, and Frank Cook don't know me. I mean, shoot, maybe he listens to the podcast before, maybe he listens to it now. I have no idea. And I'm nobody. I mean, I'm a podcaster. This is episode 372, so I'm really good at that. I'm very consistent. And this is the best sneaker podcast, period. Don't care what anybody says. I hope you think your sneaker podcast is the best, period. Who cares? All right? All of us are battling for a spot, and the prize is nothing. Okay? Who cares? It's always somebody. Yo, I think it's kind of, arrogant to say you're the best sneaker podcast ever. Who cares? I've been saying that since like episode 4. Frank Cook, please don't go in the Nike or Jordan or whatever you're about to do trying to figure out how to restore the feeling. Try to figure out how to create new feelings. That's your lane. That them old feelings, I'm 41. I don't need any more. I don't need to hang on to them old feelings. My old feelings are done. I'm cooked. I bought every Jordan. I bought every retro. I bought every Air Max. I'm cooked on that. I need some new feelings to keep me in this on the downward hill of my life. And maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe I'm too old to be here. But if you don't start creating new feelings in this younger demographic, it won't matter what you do. I'm just being honest with you. That's just my opinion. Right or wrong, I may be talking crazy. Maybe like, who does this guy think he is? Don't focus on restoring old feelings. Focus on creating new feelings. Now, let me talk about this question that was posted on, is it ATFA or is it ATAF? Let me see. Um, and this is where I saw additional issue, right? So let's see. It's ATATF. My apologies for that. And it's an Atlanta-based sneaker community media source. And we had talked about another question that was posted on there last week, George and I, on last week's episode. But I seen the question. It came across my timeline, and it basically said, you are the CEO, you are the Nike CEO for 24 hours. What is your plan? Now, that's a stupid question. All right. For 24 hours, what's my plan? I can't do anything in 24 hours. What am I working a 24-hour shift? It's a stupid question. But the better question is you are Nike CEO. What's your plan? Eliminate the 24 hours. I'm CEO. I was really curious in all the comments. I go to the comments for everything immediately, whether it's a stupid post, whether it's a funny post, a serious post, whatnot. I go to the comments immediately to check the temperature on what people are thinking. Now, I'm going to read a few of these comments on this post because a lot of them are just ridiculous, and it shows the mindset that people are in when it comes to sneakers, okay? It says, here's somebody. This is from @WavyKidLoso. Take pre-orders so everyone can get the shoe at retail price. Fam, open your eyes. Open your internet browser. What do you got? Safari? Google Chrome? Firefox? Internet Explorer? Click one of those and type in whatever sneaker you want. It's there for retail. Now, if you're talking about Travis Scott's and stuff like that, get a life. Here's another comment from Jada Kiss Laugh. Yeezy 1 and Yeezy 2 retros, please. Well, he said on deck. Give it up. If there's one thing that Nike is prideful, is prideful. If you think Nike is going to ever give give Kanye another level of ego, because that's what it would be. You need me. You retroing my sneakers. You need me. You need my influence. If you think Nike will ever participate in and inflating Kanye's ego a little bit more, you're out of your mind. I'm pretty much guaranteeing, I'm 99.9999% you'll never see a retro Yeezy 1, Yeezy 2. And if you do, it will have zero reference towards Yeezy Kanye whatsoever on it, which means you won't want it. Because guess what? If they retro a Yeezy 1 or Yeezy 2 and there's no reference to Yeezy on it, I don't want it. I didn't want to buy Diamond Turf 96s when they retroed because it didn't have Deion Sanders with the bandana in the air bubble. I didn't buy it. I don't want this. This is a replica. I don't want it. So if you think anybody wants to buy a Yeezy 1 or Yeezy 2 without anything that says Yeezy on it, you're out of your mind. Let's get back to the comments. Looks like it's Susiano. Re-release and retro every grail. What's every grail? What? And for those listening, this is people commenting on the post. If you were CEO of Nike for 24 hours, what would be your plan? This is how I know that sneakerheads and the sneaker community is still thinking at a lower level, a low level. They're not thinking of a high level. They're not thinking about the future. They're still here in the bottom, stuck on what they want, their needs. I'm CEO. I'm not thinking about what I need. I'm not thinking about what I want, what I would like. Sorry, that was a dramatic pause. Um, Here's another one. What? Man, get that. That's stupid. This one says, from Taliban, start a Nike vintage line like from the 60s to the 10s, remastered sneakers and clothes, pay older athletes more royalties and get them what they deserve. Actually, I kind of like this one a little bit. Okay, Talibans. I ain't mad at that one. This guy, Doe, I don't know what that's. Maybe Doe got newbies. I don't know. I'd call Kanye for an emergency meeting and have him bring his top 5 dream team. Shut up. Um, what else these cats talking about? Um, yeah, these comments are ridiculous. In backdooring, get over it. Backdooring is part of sneaker culture. Get over it. You know what's funny is the cats that are still running around like talking about backdooring like it's a conspiracy theory. It's happening. You're right. Backdooring is happening. It's not a myth. It's not a secret. It's happening. Get over it. If I had a store and I got 100 pairs, 20 of them are going to the homies. Period. They're paying for them, but the homies got theirs on lock. So get over it. Here's cats lower the prices. Yeah, all right. It says, oh, come on. This guy, retro Yeezy 2s. Stop. Bring back that 90s basketball feeling. Fam, no. Why? So would they just have more products sitting on the shelf? Nobody wants that stuff. Look, this is the point I'm trying to make here is, between Fran Cooke and the thought process of sneakerheads by just answering a simple question of what they would do if they were CEO of Nike. It just shows where sneakerheads and even maybe the brands are thinking. Okay? They're trying to make you keep you stuck in this past. That's why they keep bringing up these retros and things like that, because they don't know how to move forward. These companies and brands don't know how to move forward. Anytime they're on the right path of moving forward, they revert back to their old ways, and then they find themselves back at square one every single time. Let me tell you something. If I was Nike, if I was the CEO of Nike, period, not for 24 hours, CEO, period, my first directive would be my first directive and campaign would be is to think on how to create new feelings among sneakerheads. Get out of the old feelings. Man, that was awesome. I used to love the Jason Kids. That was 30 years ago. 30 years ago. I still see people like, bro, they need to bring back the Gary Payne gloves. Huh? Fam, that was 28 years ago. No, they don't. Go on eBay. A lot of this stuff you guys are looking for, go on eBay. Type it in there, buy a pair. Okay? I would figure out how to build new feelings, but include the consumer. I'm not going to say what I would do in that sense because it's so easy. And I've said it on this podcast before. Somebody going to have to ask me, man. Like, I'm not telling you anything because here's the deal. I think sort of I've had many mental tipping points when it comes to sneakers, but when I saw that $300 price tag on Jordan 17 lows, and I saw people like Need, Muscop, Grails, fam, I honestly felt Nike and Jordan Brand should have been ashamed of themselves for asking for $300 for a Jordan 17 low. I thought it was disgusting charging $300. I mean, it wasn't even one of the core Jordans. Like, yes, Jordan played in the 17 for the Wizards, but it wasn't like it's not your 1 through 14. Like, they didn't even like try to finesse some type of collaboration with any of the 1 through 14s and charge 300. Like off-white ones weren't even 300 retail. And you want somebody to pay 300 for a 17 and a low top version? That's what put me over the like, you know what? Nike is getting even further away from the sneaker community. You may not be able to see it. You probably disagree. I may be talking crazy. It's midnight right now. I need a shower and I got to wake up in about 2 hours and go to work. Okay. 3 hours and go to work. Okay. I may be off kilter with what I'm saying, but that's just what I'm thinking. I'm sorry. In order to build these new feelings and new relationships with the consumer, you're going to have to include the consumer, and you're going to have to be way more retroactive and way more hands-on with the consumer. It doesn't just mean like, I make it easy for you to buy sneaker, love us forever. No, that's not what that means. You know what's funny is that the easier it is to buy sneakers, I feel like the more overwhelmed. I'm talking about me now personally. The more overwhelmed I am with them because I think sometimes the relief of missing out is like it feels good. Like there's a couple things on sneakers app a couple weeks ago or this week that like I was like, oh, I may try for it. But when I was like, oh shoot, I'm 10 minutes late, I lost out. I was relieved. Um, and that doesn't mean I can't buy for retail anywhere else, but I'm not gonna put the effort into it. Um, if that makes any sense, I don't know. It's late. I feel like now I'm just talking and whatnot, but I did want to put out an episode for you guys to listen to while you guys are at work tomorrow. Try to get the video up by tomorrow as well. Hopefully this is a good episode. I don't know. Just wanted to touch on a few things. These topics probably would have been better with more opinions. But like I said, man, I want to try to continue to have these episodes weekly. I didn't want to continue and try to squeeze one in on Friday and step on the next week's episode and whatnot. So I want to try to get this one out there as soon as possible. So I'll probably upload this episode tonight and have it ready for you guys by the morning. But I'm just gonna get into the top 10. I think I touched on those enough. I gave my opinions as much as I could right now. Not a long episode, so should be an easy listen to throughout tomorrow, even early in the next week, and then we'll have a new episode in studio next week for you guys. So, like I said, man, I appreciate everybody who likes, subscribe, share this podcast. I am doing top 10 Derrick Rose sneakers to me. I mainly did the ones that I had, and there's a couple of colorways of one here that I didn't have, but I love the colorway. And some of these are multiple of the same model because I didn't want to put a model of something that I didn't have. And I'll be honest with you, you know, 1 through 4, Derrick Rose, fire. 5 through 10, actual butt cheeks. Okay. 11, fire. 11 really flew under the radar, but 11's fire. I didn't have it, but I saw it at the Adidas outlet, and I was like, this is a really nice, high-quality basketball sneaker. This joint is fire. So like I said, I'm doing top 10 Derrick Rose sneakers to me. Number 10, I got the D Rose 4 Arrival. Um, I had this basketball, and all my Derrick Roses I hooped in. There was only one that I owned that I didn't hoop in, and actually two that I owned that I didn't hoop in, and I'll talk about those a little bit later. This one was the model where it was like split. Like it was split down the back. Half of the shoe was like one color. This one, the Arrival, was like half black on one side and gray in the front. I like the colorway. I like the model of it. The issue with this shoe is it was not sturdy. It reminded me a lot of KD5s, where it was like it went up high enough on your ankle so you thought you had a little bit of support. But after Derrick Rose, like 4 or 3, Derrick Rose sneakers got really light. Like they just got really light, and I do not like hooping in light sneakers. I was always uncomfortable in these. I was always concerned that I was gonna get hurt when I hooped in these. But very nice shoe. I like the model a lot. Number 9, I got the Derrick Rose 1.5 black red. It was the low top version of the one. The one thing I did like about the Derrick Rose line is that they always did like a 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, and so on. I did appreciate that. I like that a lot. The one thing I didn't like about this is that like the one thing I loved about this model was it had the toe box, and it had a different colored toe box. The toe box was a little bit small, but it was white. I loved the white toe box in contrast to the majority of the black and red of the sneaker or the Bulls colors. The one thing I hated about it though was that like where you put your laces in that connected, there was this little piece that flipped up that had like an Adidas logo on it. It was like a sort of like a shark's fin, but a facing this way shark's fin. I hated that. I would get the nail clippers and I clipped them off. I think I had 2 pairs of these. I clipped off that little piece. It just was ridiculous. It made no sense. And for those people who used to buy Derrick Rose sneakers and tie them stupid mad tight, the 1.5 Adi Rose Derrick Rose sneaker, you tied that joint too tight, it looked crazy. Number 8, I got the Derrick Rose 3, the Nightmare Before Christmas. This to me, and I feel like when we did Christmas sneakers probably about 7 years ago, whatever year, however long ago, 8 years ago, I had this Derrick Rose sneaker on my list. I bought this sneaker. So I'll tell you how I bought this sneaker. First of all, the theme within itself is great. I put it along the lines. Maybe the execution didn't come out right, and they didn't put it on the correct sneakers, Adidas, but it's finding that additional aspect of Christmas that's just a little bit different. It's like the Kobe Grinch. When you think of Christmas sneakers, you think of snow, Santa, red and green, la 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 la, jingle bells and all that. Kobe went the route of the Grinch. It, and the Grinch is a legendary figure in Christmas lore. You know what I mean? Um, the Nightmare Before Christmas has that same feeling. Before Christmas is a classic movie. It's different, and it's some of Tim Burton's greatest work. Um, and the colorway looked really good on this Adidas sneaker. So how I'm on the Derrick Rose 3. So this is how I bought it. So me and my uncle and the homies were walking through Arizona Mills, and there's Mills malls all over the country, but like Arizona Mills had this Ross in it, and you used to be able to walk by the Ross and you could see the sneakers through the window. For whatever reason, they put the sneaker racks against glass. I have no idea why. So like whenever I would walk in, I would just peek through the glass just to see. Because if you've been in the sneakers as long as I've had, you know that you could sneak into a Ross or somewhere and find a gem. All right. Typically that gem would be a size 19, but you may be able to find a gem in there. I remember we walked in that day and it was just a whole rack of Nightmare Before Christmas Derrick Rose threes on there, and I was like, I thought they were fire. They glow in the dark. They had the purple. I thought they were fire. I went in there, copped them. They were like $29 or something like that. Copped them. I was like, all right, cool. No bots, whatever. I ain't tripping. One of the hardest soles ever on a sneaker. I don't know how Derrick Rose hooped in them. I don't know how anybody hooped in them. I could barely walk in them. Now, I thought the execution was good with the Nightmare Before Christmas theme. I thought that was fine. I thought it looked good. The problem is, it's impossible to wear. It's such a unique purple with the glow in the dark green and this. It's so unique that it's impossible to wear. And this is back when we were wearing basketball sneakers casually. It was impossible to wear. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if I gave it away, lost it, left it. I might still have it. I don't know. But that's my number three. I'm sorry, my number eight. Number seven, I got the Adi Rose 2 black. I liked it. It was fine. It just didn't feel good to me as a basketball sneaker. Um, when I hoop in rose sneakers, and when I get to my top ones, I'll tell you the difference in them. The bad Derrick Rose sneakers, when you hooped in them, they had a weird feeling when you landed. Like it hurt when you landed. It felt like when you tried to jump in the air in like church shoes, like dress shoes. When it was like, you tried to you know, like those days when like you didn't wear hoop sneakers to school. You wore like your Wallabies or you wore some casual Timberlands or something, and you tried to hoop in them. And when you jumped to hit the ground, and it felt like every vibration went through your body and exited out the top of your head. That's what these felt like. I love the way the shoe looked. I like the materials. It had like a rougher, sort of cracked material in some areas on the toe box and stuff like that. Liked them a lot, but yeah, they were awful to hoop in. But aesthetically, they look good. Number six, I got the Derrick Rose 3, the alternate away. Um, you know, it's the same model as the Nightmare Before Christmas. This is the one I actually hooped in. I didn't hoop in the first one because it hurt my foot. Like you couldn't walk in it, it hurt. But when I got this colorway, and it's sort of like a bread colorway. I mean, when Derrick Rose played for Chicago, it's really hard to call it a bread colorway because any sneaker you make in a Chicago colorway, it's gonna look like a bread. You're just gonna say bread, whatever. Um, but you know, eh, I twisted my ankle in it, and it wasn't because the shoe was flimsy. It was because certain Derrick Rose models had a slim sole. So like there's certain basketball sneakers, like I prefer my basketball sneakers to have like a wide front base and maybe a smaller back, or a wide back and smaller front, whichever. I don't care. But I need a wide base because I have a lot of impact when I hoop. I make layups. I drive to the hole. I don't just shoot threes. So that's why I want that. These had a really narrow sole. So like if you jumped up just the littlest off balance off the center of that sneaker, twisted ankle that quick. I mean, it'd be quick. And I remember twisting my ankle in these in the gym, and I was like, oh my God. I was so nervous to wear them again because I knew exactly why I twisted my ankle. It was because that bottom was so narrow. But, anyways, number five, I got the Derrick Rose 7 low. I hooped in this one outdoors. I remember like when we had first moved into our neighborhood, and there was a park with a basketball court. When you buy your first house and you got a neighborhood, you buy your first home, and you're like, oh, let's go to the neighborhood park, and I was like, I'm gonna buy these Derrick Rose lows to hoop in. It had a boost all the way through it. Actually, no, you know what? No, that was Pippins. I had Pippins for that. I was hooping at Airmore Temples. I don't know. I hooped in these outside. Maybe it wasn't when we bought our first home, but these Derrick Rose 7, maybe it was. No, second home? I don't know. Either way, they had prime nip up top. They had boost all the way through. They were okay. If you saw this sneaker, you could see where the influence came in on the Hardens and some of the Damian Lillard models. I think it maybe even had the same designer for them. They were okay. I didn't think they were bad. I think it's the only basketball shoe that I thought I could feel the boost in. I've tried hooping and Hardens and other sneakers that had basketball sneakers that had boost in them, some of the Pharrell ones and stuff like that. Couldn't feel the boost whatsoever. Number 4, I got the Derrick Rose 11, the Brenda colorway, the red. I've never owned a pair, but this model flew under the radar. This is his 11th pair. This joint is stupid fire. I saw it at the outlet at Tanger Outlets, fam. I was like, this joint is alright. I'm like, if I was hooping, I would consider buying that sneaker. The materials, it looks like it has a bunch of variation of technology and foam, fly, like prime knit. It doesn't have boost. I think it has Adi Zero. I think as a sole or Adi Foam or something like that. Them joints is ridiculous fire. I don't care what nobody says. Like them joints is fire. I encourage anybody, if you still hooping or if your kid hoops or something, look for the Derrick Rose 11s. Fire. I got them on this list because they're stupid fire. I never owned them, but I did see them in person. Number 3, I got the Derrick Rose 3.5, the Chicago Home. Fire colorway. I had them joints. I never hooped in them. I never wore them at all. I just had them in the box. Never wore them or did anything with them. But them joints are ridiculous fire. Number 2 and number 1. So number 2, I got the Derrick Rose. It's the one. I think it was just called Audi 01 or something like that. It's the yellow colorway for they wore for All Star Game. Now, I have this one as number 2, because I think when the color was I think when the colorway first came out, it was for his high school, which I think was like Simon or Simeon in Chicago, and at some point, I think he either wore it in the All Star game or when he retroed it became the All Star sneaker. I don't know. It was bright yellow. That one I never hooped in. That colorway I never hooped in. I wore that one casually, the yellow one. It was unique because the only yellow sneaker was a Lightning 4. A yellow basketball sneaker was a Lightning 4, and that was back when nobody had Lightning 4s. Lightning 4s just weren't available, when this sneaker was out. So like they hadn't retro yet or nothing like that. So the only yellow sneaker available that was like a yellow, real yellow was the Derrick Rose 1 All-Star or Simeon, whatever colorway you want to call it. Um, and I wore those casually. I didn't hoop in those. But my number 1 is the same sneaker model, but in the white colorway version. And the reason why this 1 and 2 are my top 2, even though the same one, is because that first Derrick Rose had like an ankle support thing in it. When you would tie it all the way to the top, it legit wrapped your ankle in it. It felt the most secure you will ever feel in a basketball sneaker. When me and George did top 5 basketball sneakers to hoop in, I think I had this one in my top 5 or 3. It was definitely on my list, but it's one of my favorite basketball sneakers to hoop in. If you could find a pair, like I said, if you still hoop and you could find a pair of Derrick Rose ones at a good price, I would cop and give them a shot. That additional, so the sneaker looks low top, but then inside is a built-in like ankle thing, and it was like a foam. So like once you tied it around your ankle, it stayed that way. Stupid fire. So those are my top 10 Derrick Rose sneakers to me. Shout out to Derrick Rose, man. He announced his retirement this week or last week, and it's one of those things where feel bad for it. We got to see Derrick Rose, first get in the league, and then once he got injured, it just was never the same. You know what I mean? So, um, but it's one of those things where it shows like the resilience of our athletes today, and it shows how advanced technology and medicine has come thus far. Because people have the exact same injury, they come back next year like nothing ever happened. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's just a confidence thing in your head. But Derrick Rose is one of those athletes that like his game was just unbelievable for a point guard, and that's when you knew times were changing. When your point guard is coming down the lane dunking on everybody, you knew something was up. Like I'm talking, Derrick Rose was catching one-handed alley oops at the top peak. Insane. So shout out to Derrick Rose, man. Um, like I said, quick episode, something to get you guys through the week. I got nothing else. Appreciate those who like, subscribe, share the podcast, and sneak this. Pow, 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 pow.